Hey everyone, PolymathMolly here. I just kind of wanted to talk for a little bit, if that's all right with you. I'm working through a bit of my life story right now, and I feel like talking about it might help me understand it better and maybe even find a conclusion to it, or at least a future possibility. When I went to college, I ended up going to Honolulu, Hawaii Pacific University to be exact. I got my bachelor's and my master's degree in teaching English as a second language because I wanted to go live in Japan. I've always loved Japanese culture and been very engrossed in things like anime and Japanese video games and things along those lines. But after a lot of reflection and looking back at my life, I realized that what I really wanted was to escape. My parents got divorced when I was 14. And that was about the time I decided that I just wanted to move away to Japan. I had no other real ambitions as far as career. And so instead, I researched the best ways to get to Japan. And for Westerners, it was to teach English. So I did that and I got my degree. I applied for a couple jobs with different businesses, different companies that hosted English teachers in Japan. But I had a dog at the time and none of them were going to allow me to bring my dog, even if I was willing to pay and take care of the paperwork of getting him over there and everything myself. And I missed food. I'm from Texas, and there was no Texas food in Honolulu, believe it or not. So I came back home to Texas, and I had no earthly idea what to do. I took a part-time job for a little bit. I was living with dad. And it was at that point that I realized just how extremely lost I was. I had never wanted to be anything or do anything. And I'd gone to college like you're supposed to and got my degree, and I was not passionate about teaching. I used to play teacher when I was a kid, but that's not the same as actually doing it. And here I had this 5-year master's degree and zero ambitions. And like the foolish 23-year-old that I was, instead of taking time to focus on finding myself or what it was that I wanted to do with my life, I immediately dove into dating. I had had a boyfriend in college, but he was in Hawaii, and when I moved back home, he didn't move with me. And so, of course, we broke up. So I went on an online dating app at the advice of my father and stepmom, who had met on eHarmony. And I met a man, and I fell in love with him, and I moved down to Austin. When I met him, he had all sorts of ideas and dreams about things that he wanted to do with his life, and they all sounded fantastic enough to me, and I had no ambition, so I even told him that I had no ambition so that I would just go along for the ride. But that was unfair to me and to him. And so I became a teacher, because what else was I going to do with a teaching degree? I thought for a little bit about becoming a writer because I always loved writing, fantasy stories, poetry, some science fiction. But my parents and my boyfriend of the time all emphasized how you can't make a living doing something like that. And so I never even tried. and I went through the process of getting my teaching certificate in Texas. And then I started teaching. And I was absolutely miserable.